was a deck that we have played a good amount of, have had a pretty high win rate. This is a Aether Vial build of the Elementals deck with a much lower mana curve compared to the versions with, you know, a bunch of Omnaths and like random 5-drops. And the idea is like that specifically the card Recommission lets you be a lot more in on the Risen Reef plan. You just get to jam your Reef, they kill it, you recommission it back. But also Recommission is really nice with your Thunderkin Awakener plan, where it lets you get back your some 2 toughness creatures with Thunderkin Awakener like Solitude. Or in this build specifically, Solitude. In past, we've had like main deck Fulminator Mages as well. But the big update is that we are playing Brushfire Elemental over mostly over Voice of Resurgence, and then we had the main deck Fulminator Mage as a tutor target. We're now playing an Omnath over that, and we're doing that because now we are really interested in triggering landfall. We're playing 10 fetch lands. We're playing a lot of fetchable lands. So that we can trigger Brushfire Elemental and attack for a lot. Maybe asking yourself, Spike, this is a standard all-star. Why are we playing this in our Elementals deck? And like the answer, this card does a lot, but like the main thing this does is just in games quickly, which is something that I think that this archetype has struggled with in the past, is ending games quickly, and very specifically, it can end games very, very quickly in combination with a bunch of Risen Reef triggers, which is, you know, very much what this deck is trying to do. Get a million Risen Reef triggers, grow your Brushfire Elementals a lot. It's also very cool. Awakener, you can bring back your Brushfire Elemental. It is, you have to have like a fetch land in play to crack to grow it in combat, but it is another, you know, works a bit better with Awakener than Voice of Resurgence did. I also have been a lot higher on the Evoke Disenchant cards, specifically Wispmare because it can be recommissioned, but due to 2-2-2 split right now, could definitely see these numbers change, but right now I just want to be doing 2-2-2. Where's Speak Out Omnath? Yeah, I mean, that card sucks. It's just like you think you have to play it, you really don't have to play that card. I wish it was better. Simone, 6 months. I played against that card in EDH. I'm friends with the or Solitude besides the Brushfire. Let's mulligan. This one's much better because it can cast a Risen Reef. I think we're putting back the basic planes since we need the Temple Garden to cast Brushfire. What deck did I play in Minneapolis? So Minneapolis was a sealed PTQ tournament. I wasn't qualified for the Pro Tour, but they have on Friday and Saturday sealed Pro Tour qualifiers for invites to make it. And it's a very cool structure where they cut into the top 32, and you have to win a 4-person draft pod to top 8. I ended up losing my win-in for top 8 on the first one, and I lost in the finals. I was one match away from Pro Tour Barcelona invite at like 1 a.m. on Saturday night, which was tough. It's okay. More important things in life than winning Magic tournaments. Mark with 18, I think I got Mark with 18. Okay, Tron. I literally, why do I keep disrespecting Tron? I'm like, I trimmed down the Fulminator thinking that it's just way more important to fight against Titan than Tron, and here we are. We still have a couple Fulminators on the board. Tron is like literally your worst matchup. Would not be an aspiring spec stream without worst matchup game 1, round 1 either, I guess. These pay out to top 32. So yeah, I have like 3 collector booster boxes and 2 set boosters downstairs that I don't know what to do with. Surprised not to get day after rest stuff. I did actually. Like I flew back at like, my flight left at like 8 a.m. yesterday, and so I got home at like 10:40 or something, and I slept for like 14 hours. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Like I don't know, I was talking to Andrea, and Andrea was like, Spike, you should stay another day. These weekend tournaments are so good. But like I took an extra day off on Wednesday already. Because I just had like such a bad bout of insomnia, so I just really needed to get back to the stream. I think rest up. I was so exhausted, but it was awesome. I had a great weekend too. It was so cool to see Andrea in person again. We had dinner on Friday night, I think. Andrea is just the greatest ever, of course. And okay, there's a card. Probably targeting the Reef, right? Maybe the plus. Jeff, thank you for 2 years. Love you, buddy. Did I get the autograph for one of the... No, I did get to see Nassif very briefly. You know, it's tough because, like, the Pro Tour section is going off, like, it's like a 5-minute walk away from the... Like, it's, like, literally the opposite end of the halls. So it's hard for me to go and, like, chat with any of the Pro Tour competitors. I also had a friend of mine who was... Dude, why do people play Karn? It just doesn't do anything. I also had a friend of mine who won the San Diego Regional Championship. Won the San Diego Regional Championship, Josh Willis, and so I was also over there trying to cheer him on. And he didn't re-qualify the Pro Tour, but he still has Worlds coming up, which is exciting. So I was going to cheering them on, trying to talk to some pro players. I got to talk to Nassif for like a minute or two, but it was just good to see him in person. He was obviously like really focused on the PT too. Sam, 36 months, happy 3 years. They have Ugin, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I definitely missed the stream a lot. They say there's you know, a lot to recap for sure. Yeah, the finals also was a real heartbreaker. It was, my opponent's deck was really good. My opponent was, you know, was playing really well. So I made, it was really weird. So I was very ahead game one. I had a Tetsuko, the 1/3 creatures power 1 or less can't be blocked. My opponent's blessing. Okay. I mean, I don't have anything going on though, I guess. Powers 1 or 3 can't. Oh, that's something going on. All right, this is the tech. Let me just cast this and we can ramble a bit more. And he also had the rare that can tap and sacrifice a creature to like drain the life points. And it already had one counter on it. The Judith had one counter on the backup, and my opponent like sacked the backup creature and then just ticked up the counter on the Judith. I totally missed that he did that. And if I had noticed, I think maybe I would have. I don't know. I attacked with everything, and he was able to like sack the Judith, kill my Tetsuku, and block 2 creatures for free. So like I saw that it had 2 counters like just 1 second too late. It was very tough. I do know that if he had like verbally acknowledged the trigger, I don't think I would have made the attack. The problem was he didn't speak a lot of English, and he had a translator there too. So it was like 100% my fault. But it was very, and it's also like you get up at 9 a.m. It's now 1 a.m. The lights are all off. It was very tough, very tough. Maybe we would have still lost that game, but I would have been so much closer. And then game 2, I would have won if either I had 1 mana available for my Surge of Salvation, or if my opponent didn't top deck removal spell. I think it may not have been a top deck, but I think it was a top deck. Did I still have fun? I did still have fun, yeah. I did still have fun. These weekend tournaments are always fun. My opponent is exiling a land of mine. Okay, because they have an Oblivion Stone. Narwhal at the 19, Gigastash with the 9 as well. Boy, was this card impactful, huh? I mean, stop me from casting this Fury, I guess. I might hear him. Yeah, but it was so painful to have my like lethal flyer removed, and I just have Surge of Salvation in my hand. I'm like, this. If I could cast this, I'm qualifying for the Pro Tour. Yeah, no, Tron is like the worst matchup for Recommission Elementals in my experience. I do think the Brushfire Elementals help for sure. I also think we're dead for sure this game. Just pack it in. We have a couple Fulminator Mages that are tutorable, and we're also going to bring in the Ingot Chewers. I don't usually like to bring in the Foundation Breakers. And then I think I tend to go like -3 Solitude, -1 Fury. Sometimes just like Ephemerate Fury turn 1 is okay. Yeah, let's do this. Have I qualified for PT before? Yeah, so I've qualified for 2 paper Pro Tours and then 2 arena PTs. And then I think the last arena PT I played, I was actually 2 matches away from requalifying. Maybe I'm supposed to mulligan this, but like, actually I don't think so. We have like turn 3 Reef. We're like we're like a Flamekin Harbinger away from just winning the game, or a Fulminator away from winning the game. I think you have to keep these really high upside hands in these bad matchups. But like one Fulminator by itself is just not going to do the job. So I think I 9-7'd my first Pro Tour, and then the second Pro Tour I played was the Team Pro Tour, and I was one match away from top 8 of that event. But the loss put me like right outside of requalifying. But that structure for requalifying was different from all the other ones. And then I was 9-7 on my third one, and I think I was like. No, maybe I was 9-7 at the next one. I don't know. But back then 9-7 did not requalify you. Did not requalify you for the PT. But now that is a record that does requalify you. Oh, sorry. Shoot. I just fetched Shocked. It is probably better to wait on the Thunderkin Awakener so I can trigger the Reef next turn. So I guess we just took 2 damage for nothing. It's okay. Sometimes you take 2 damage for nothing. Elemental. But I do think the change is good, though. I think that making it a little easier to qualify, like requalify, is like very important for oh, gross. Oh, gross. Very important for you know, letting like the Pro Tour dream be a little bit more of a thing, where like you can chain qualifications and stay on for a while. Well, okay, so we're gonna get a Cityscape Leveler, Fulminator Mage off the top one time. No fucking way. Okay, so I probably could have fetched a little better. Imagine if this had oh, this can have 2 toughness actually, starting next turn with my Kaheera. Okay, yeah, this is this is good. Okay, this is a good send back to the stream. Now I get to recommission my Fulminator Mage, kill their Urza's Mine, and then I can put my Kaheera into my hand, and I can use the Awakener to bring back Fulminator Mage every turn. Which is pretty good. Because Kaheera buffs Thunderkin Awakener's power to bring back the 2-drop. You lose Kaheera. Lose Kaheera with Mage. No, the companion thing is just like popped up on my other monitor for some reason. Mage is an elemental. You see, like, they don't just concede here. Well, yeah, maybe. Worst matchup, by the way. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got sideboard cards. I used to have more full. I had like 4 Fulminators in the main previously, so it was a lot better back then. And a lot worse now. Yeah, and they didn't concede for some reason. Which I'm okay with. I like to have fun. But it says karma for game 1. What happened game 1? I don't even know. Good Flicker Wisp and like exile their forest. Still like the 1 Wisp, you know. Okay, back it in here. What's new with the deck? So the main thing is I'm playing Brushfire Elemental, which like it's a little bit. It's more than just Brushfire Elemental over voice, but that's the big change. But then you update the whole mana base to have fetch lands for landfall, which all of a sudden makes Omnath Locus of Creation worthy of being a Flamekin Harbinger target. In the past, we didn't have any fetch lands. I didn't want to play like make my mana base like worse just to play a bunch of fetch lands for a 1 copy of Omnath. I don't think you want to play more than 1 copy in your Recommission deck, especially when it's just like Risen Reef is your card advantage card. It's not Omnath. And we were playing like a main deck Fulminator. At one point, like a lot more, playing like main deck Skelementals. But a lot of, so, you know, the sideboards changed. We're like up to like more Wispmares, more Ingot Chewers for Titan, and less against Tron, which you are getting punished for here. And I'm gonna run this back. Not a single Skelemental for Spice. Yeah, it's just like you have to add a black source to your mana base too, which is like, or you have to play a lot of like the Cavern of Souls kind of lands. I do like that if my opponent just has map here, we get to Ingot Chewer them. I think it's just like if they have a map hand again, a Relic of Progenitus. Okay. I think again, and these like kind of bad matchups, I like to keep that really high upside hands, and this hand has the high upside of killing a map, making your opponent stumble really hard. Could have mulligan for sure. May Ephemerate my Ingot Chewer, maybe not. Let's see what we draw. Let's not. Let's just go ahead and kill their Relic of Progenitus. Play a tap land, hope to top deck. Well, have it play better than your previous build? Yeah, I am liking it better than the previous build at the moment. I do like that if we can. I mean, just have to top deck Fulminator again, but we can set up the loop where Fulminator into Vial and Aether Mage into Vial and Kaheera, do the loop. Yeah, if Mulldrifter was a 2-1, it would be such a big deal. Although Thunderkin Awakener maybe would have never been printed if it was. Obviously, you need a big top deck here. And did not find it. Found it last game. Okay, I'm gonna move this back over here. No Vesperlark. You could play a Vesperlark over the Flickerwisp. The Flickerwisp like wins you games that you can't win otherwise, though. And Vesperlark is pretty medium. Is better now with the Recommission or the Brushfire, maybe. No more Aether Vial, huh? Do I play Pioneer at all? I used to play a lot of Pioneer. It's been a while for me since I've been into Pioneer. What do you think about the ring mechanic? Did I help design it? I did not help design it. It was there when I got there. I am typically pretty against these mechanics that, like, you know, the dungeons. Like, I just don't like this kind of stuff. I don't like it when, if a player is unfamiliar with a card, that it all of a sudden derails the game so much that we have to, like, have this whole sub-game of... Or not sub-game, but there's just, like, a lot of, like, extra reading and, like, explaining. And I also really don't like that, like, if you've never seen the dungeons before, or if you've never seen, like, the ring mechanic or the monarch mechanic... You really can't even read it. You can't, like, read it all at once and then, like, really know what it does. You know what I mean? It's like, you could read it, and then you're still, like, a little confused, and you can't remember every single aspect of it. Now, I tend to think that these mechanics are really not good for 60-card formats. And, you know, I'm not of the opinion that Tempt the Ring is going to be a mechanic that impacts Modern very much, but I was not a particularly big fan of the Tempt the Ring mechanic. Yeah, Monarch is at least somewhat simple. I think Monarch is you know, not again a mechanic that's good for 60-card formats either, but it's a little bit different. So I don't know. It's okay. Like I think, you know, this is just my opinion on these kind of cards. I think that there are a lot of people who feel differently. I actually, you know, I mean, I played with some EDH players over the weekend, and they love the Monarch, but also, like, Monarch was very hard to keep track of in the middle of, like, the Commander game, but maybe that was just because it was late. But again, it's not my favorite. Not my favorite. Okay. If they pop this, I can recommission Kaheera, Thunderkin Awakener. Let's see what we draw. Maybe I'll just draw a Fulminator. Because, like, what's cool about that, too, is, like, Recommission Awakener, I would get to flip the Fulminator. We'll just cast an Omnath, I guess. Not good for, like, bad for the health. Just not good enough to see play. Yeah, I guess I should explain. Not good is kind of vague. I think that Monarch, Tempt the Ring, Into the Dungeon. At me, if we're talking about aspiring Spike the game designer who is, you know, a college dropout and but just plays a lot of games, I just personally think that from a game design perspective, I think that it's just not a very good design space for 60 card formats, or like for single player formats maybe, or maybe just in general. I'm a big believer that, like, you should just be able to read the card and understand what the card does. Read the card, understand the card, and every single time. And I think that when you when you have cards that you have to like pick up a whole different card, or in the case of the dungeons, 4 different cards, to understand what it is this thing does. I think that this is just, from my like design philosophy, something that I don't like very much. But again, this is just a design philosophy. This is not me saying that Tempt the Ring or Monarch or Into the Dungeon are poorly balanced or even unfun. I think that it's also very true that these kind of mechanics, once you know how they work, once you've played with them a few times, all of my complaints that I'm complaining about right now just go away. You know, you eventually know how it works. But just for me as a game designer, I think, I just don't think that this is a good card design. So, but again, it's just very, very philosophical, very powerful cards. Not necessarily super complicated cards, but there was like a power creep in Magic. And now I think we're seeing something different. I think we're seeing a complexity creep. Where cards are like they're not really power creeping. There's some exceptions, obviously. There's always going to be exceptions to this kind of stuff. Oh, no, don't Thoughtseize my Aether Vial. But I think we're mostly seeing what I'm thinking of as a complexity creep. And what's kind of interesting about this is that once you understand the cards and you like achieve that learning curve of understanding all the cards, like Mom is an amazing limited format. The cards are really, really cool. They're fun to play with. They're interesting, but it just takes you a while to. I guess I pitched the Harbinger since we're so light on lands. To like understand what it is these freaking cards do. Scamming for your turn 1 a lot worse than the one counter, but without that Aether Vial, we don't really have much of another plan. Does that make sense? And I honestly think complexity creep is probably a good direction to go. I think that it's just very hard to continue to design Magic cards as simple as they were in the past forever. You know what I mean? And hopefully it doesn't continue. I think that we could probably stay at this level of complexity for a while. I don't think that it has to get much weirder or worse than this, but at least not in the immediate future. Cyclopuppy, 15 months, thank you. I am Volpert with the 22 months. Have I seen the recent Yogg build with Grazer and Gardens? I have not, no. I've been messing around with Grazer and Gardens in some Convoke shells myself, so I wonder if that's like, are they playing like Pylon or the Dino or anything? Do you think if they release beta today, people would enjoy the set? No, of course, of course not. Assuming like, yeah, I don't know. It's just we're living in a different time, right? We are just living in a different time. Magic card design is something that is a mountain that you build upon and improve and refine and tune. Oh, okay, this is an instant go into the graveyard. I see. Good play, good play. I was so confused. Okay, so I am not attacking, so maybe I'll just play to draw another Fury or another Ephemerate. Good play, opponent. Spain, 21 months, thank you. Have I thought about the Magda deck at all? I have been thinking about it some. So again, I've mostly been like, so I know I haven't talked about this on the stream much. I was working really, really hard for the sealed PTQs and like learning the limited format. This was something I spent a lot of time and energy working on over the last like 3 weeks-ish. And in some ways it paid off, right? Where I was a single match way away from Modern Pro Tour qualification, but in some ways it just wasn't enough, huh? As I was a match win away from a Pro Tour qualification. So I haven't been working on Modern as much as I have been historically. I've had a couple decks prepped for today, but I still do have that Magda deck in my docket. I actually got someone had me sign a Magda this weekend because it was very cool because I've got a Magda Commander deck and I was like, wow, I never thought I'd sign a Magda. Alright, let's just play the forest so we can get double landfall trigger both of these next turn, and then we are winning the race at the moment. Do tribal and battle cards count? Yes, they should. Yeah, so yeah, Goyf could now be a little bit bigger. Do you have any more chances for PT? Yeah, so there is Regional Championship Dallas that's coming up very soon. I don't know exactly when. Is it maybe it's maybe this month. Okay, they're still currently dead if they have nothing else, right? Oh. Oh, they can cast the Fury. So if I had Wooded Foothills here, they couldn't have cast the Thoughtseize. But they still could have cast the Fury. June through 4th. Okay, so I'm not currently qualified for that tournament. Funny enough, if I had won my PTQ, that would have actually qualified me for... I was talking to Jarvis about this. Okay, can't be blocked by power. So I can Brushfire Elemental trade, but then I died to the Goyf. Weird game. If you are qualified for the Pro Tour that the Regional Championship qualifies you for, you can still play, which is just not something I knew. But obviously it doesn't matter so much. They should give second place at those PTQs an RC invite. Like I feel like that's fair. But I don't think that is how it currently works, unfortunately. Out. Yeah, this is the modern format Falling Fish, my favorite format, and what we mostly play here. I don't think I want to bring in any endurance. Maybe I'll play with endurance over like a Wisp. That Fatal Push play was really good. Yeah. Some like so modern RCQs do a lot of times have 2 invites. I very recently lost playing in a 2-invite tournament, also, but the final a lot of final losses for me lately. But I don't know. I feel like for these PTQs, I don't know. Maybe it's just because you wake up at 9 a.m., okay? You wake up at 9 a.m., you get to the convention center at 10 a.m. The tournament starts at 11 a.m. I lost my PTQ finals match at like 1 a.m. It was, you have your sealed deck construction, sealed registration, 7 rounds of sealed, top 8 draft, deck registration, deck build, 3 rounds of draft that are also like everybody's playing really slow because they're playing for the Pro Tour and they just don't want to fuck it up and they're all really tired. So it's like a 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. day, very, very long, very, very long. Can we get RCQ? Can the finalists get RCQ invites, please, please, something. I just got some collector booster boxes, which is pretty good. Is this an aggro deck? This is an aggressive version of Elementals. I think this is kind of a quintessential, maybe mid-range deck where you really do just have the option to be like as aggressive or defensive as you want to be. If that makes sense. You have very aggressive draws with Brushfire Elemental. You can kind of combo off sometimes with Brushfire Elemental and Risen Reef, putting like a million lands into play, killing in one shot. And you can also be very controlling with like Ephemerate Fury, Ephemerate Solitude, Risen Reef Fury, Risen Reef Solitude. How many PT slots at RC? I don't know. I think it's like 30-something. Can I explain my thoughts when I'm playing Brushfire? I did at the beginning of the day. But it kills... This. I think one thing that the Recommission Elementals deck was a way to win faster. A lot of times, like, you can generate a ton of value, but it's hard to, like, actually close the game in time. Brushfire Elemental does that very well. It especially does that very well in combination with this card, Risen Reef. And it's also, I think, Voice of Resurgence was, in my limited experience, like, the worst card in the deck by a lot. Am I going to Barcelona? I lost in the finals, so... I was talking to Honorog yesterday about... he's, like, I think doing the commentary for... Yeah, so if they kill the Reef in response, we can just Awakener it back. He's doing the commentary for... The Pro Tour Barcelona, I think. So, like, there's like, a small chance... Oh, I forgot about the Spell Bomb. There's a small chance that I... go and I do commentary there, but not a very big chance. Okay, very good play to hold priority and exile the Reef before I get to Awakener. Very nice from opponent here. Still a lot of damage. Yeah, Pro Tour Barcelona is modern. Seems like if spell-based combo ever came back to Modern, it would really shake up the format since almost all control cards are removal spells. I think it's kind of funny you say that. I mean, spell-based combo does exist in Modern. Like, I think it's actually like pretty hard to call Living In specifically anything besides spell-based combo. You have like Living In, you have Glimpse combo. I feel like I'm forgetting like a really big one too. Not rhinos. You have Yawgmoth, which is creature. Oh, like is Indomitable Creativity not spell-based combo? Like Belcher exists. Yeah, Breach. Yeah, Breach combo is definitely like hard to argue as anything besides spell-based combo too. It's like maybe spell-based. It's maybe like combo tempo, combo mid range. If the Pro Tour was tomorrow, what would I play? I mean, like, if the Pro Tour was tomorrow, oh no, I forgot to prep. You know what I mean? Oh no, the Pro Tour is tomorrow. I forgot to like prep for a Pro Tour in the way that one would normally prep for a Pro Tour. Damn it. But you know, Pro Tour prep is just it's different from like regular streaming and trying to brew. I've been doing really well with like the red-black sacrifice deck, and I've been doing really well with scales. And I think that to some extent, like playing those decks at a Pro Tour would give you an edge because they're not being play tested against, and a lot of Pro Tour pro players don't have a lot of Modern experience. But I definitely want something with a good Murktide matchup, good creativity matchup. Yeah, Kaheera is nuts in this deck. That's in the Aether Vial deck. Asking hypothetically, yeah, but I'm answering truthfully though. It's like what I mean is like I don't know what I would play at a Pro Tour right now. Pro Tours are something that like you have to prep for very differently from like the way I prepare for Modern. Like mostly I'm just trying to brew and innovate, and then when I have tournaments to prepare for, you have to prepare for those a little differently than Pro Tours because like Pro Tours are tournaments where you can target the metagame a lot more reasonably. Like if there's a Modern Pro Tour, at Barcelona, I'm just telling you right now, the majority of the field is almost definitely going to be like Murktide Scam creativity. I think that you're going to see some Hammer, but I think that and some Rhinos too. But I think that those are going to be the top 3 decks, followed probably by Hammer and Rhinos. Then like some Underworld Breach for like the really people that really play. But I think that and then you would have to find something. We had to find one of those or a deck that you feel like is good against like those like 6 or 7 decks. I think there'd be almost no Titan. If I qualify a Pro Tour, would I test solo or in a group? That's a fun question. Every single Pro Tour I've qualified, I'm going to find a group and test with. And every single Pro Tour I've qualified, I've just been kind of like socially anxious, antisocial, and just do my own thing, I guess. And next time, I will try to find a group for sure. For sure, this time for sure. Oh yeah, there would be some Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth would be played too, but I think like Yawgmoth would maybe be the deck I'd play. I think Yawgmoth is amazing. I think Reed Duke would probably play Yawgmoth if I had to guess. But it's just like most Pro Tour players, I just don't think are super experienced Modern players. I could be wrong, but like Yawgmoth is a deck that is just like very hard to master in a season, and I also think it's a deck that I think that most Pro Tour players, not super experienced Modern players, not bad players by any means, I'm not shit talking or anything. They're just not super experienced Modern players, and I think that most of these players will end up choosing like Murktide or Creativity, and then some of them will choose Rhinos. I think I just get Second Reef. Yeah. And obviously things could change by then, and obviously Lord of the Rings could be out, and maybe there'll be some differences. Oh, I would play the Wandering combo. Icky. Do you consider Mental Fatigue a deck causes when going for a long tournament? Like for example, maybe Scale's amazing deck, but you could consider not playing because it's taxing. You know what's very sad? Let's go with sad. My attitude used to be that I had like such an insane mental game that I never took mental fatigue into consideration at all. And maybe I still don't. I would just never ever take mental fatigue into consideration, games going along. I used to feel like I had such a strong mental game. This was a non-factor for me. Lately, I think it's a combination of like streamer brain and insomnia to some extent. There's like a lot of like little things, but My mental game is like much worse than it used to be, and and I feel like I make a lot more mistakes than I used to when I was like a young grinder. Not that I'd be old now, but maybe I should start thinking about that more. I think so. Like I think when I was younger, my deck selection was worse, but I was very sharp. My mental game was very good. I think, and you know, my tournament endurance. I think in the 10 years I've been playing Magic is at an all-time low, which is not great. Not great. Yeah, Nathan's great. I mean, Nathan is like definitely also has young brain, which is great. Not that is, you know, there's a million other reasons for Nathan's success, but just being young and sharp is also, you know, you could be old and sharp too, but maybe I just didn't take good enough care of myself. Okay, great. Drawing a red card means I can try to Fury here. Roy, I mean, just take better care of yourself, you know, which I'm trying to do. I've been losing a lot of weight lately, which is definitely helping. You know, it's okay too. You know, one thing too. I was texting a good friend of mine. The night of the PTQ, she was like up late at a concert party, and she was like the only one that was awake of like my friends back home. And although Esther would wake up in between every round of the tournament at the end, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but there's just more important things in life than winning Magic tournaments too. It is okay. Right now, I'm just definitely get so much more out of brewing than grinding tournaments. How did I spike in my 40s? Yeah, I know. I'm 29. Surely I don't look like I know I talk like I'm older, but I just need to take better care of myself is really the answer. Think about the idea that some of the original GOATs like Finkel are overrated because the average skill competition at Pro Tours is a lot higher than it was 20 years ago. I mean, this is the kind of thought that is brought up a lot at like. Should respond to the equip. This is kind of brought up a lot for like basketball too. Like, you know, the skill level is a lot higher now. But like I think also like in the same way that this conversation about like the greatest of all time is talked about, oh, skill level's a lot higher now and blah blah blah. It's also like I think there's like just a recency bias too when we're talking about greatest of all time. I think it's like, you know, it's just time since Kai and Finkel were so dominant, but like their degree of dominance was like truly insane. Truly insane. No, come on. How do I Tron twice? Or maybe we just drop and add more Fulminators. Main deck of Fulminator? I don't know, probably not. It's like I think that it's just kind of easy to forget how truly goated John and Kai were at the time, and you know, in a lot of ways still are, of course. Tron. It's just like what I think of like literally every matchup in Modern with maybe one like weird exception. This is like the deck. This is the deck this morning. I woke up hoping to just dodge some. This is the deck, and so that's what's wrong, I guess. It's not worth trying to beat Tron Fulminators with a match we chose to beat. Well, we beat them with Fulminators game 2. Fulminator. Okay, one thing is like usually, yeah, sure. Yes, I usually agree. Fulminator, who cares? This deck has Recommission and Thunderkin Awakener to like just loop your Fulminators, crush your opponent. Usually, I'm on board. But this is actually a good one. Damn it. Yeah, I guess we get to kill the Karn. Oh no, we can't because I was banking on vialing an elemental, then playing the land. Now I have to play the land to even Brushfire. Do you think the first Fulminator is better with game 1? I mean, it's against Tron. It's like exactly Tron that is better, which is honestly just very narrow. Got some coffee beans in my mouth. Damn it. Why did you play Grove's Grey Rose and Burns to give your life to your opponent? Yeah, so this is a question we had a lot back when I was playing the Scales deck a bunch last week, 2 weeks ago. So Scales is a aggro deck, but it is actually a hybrid in my mind, aggro combo, where you're not really an aggro deck that's dealing incremental chip damage, and you are a deck that is trying a lot of times to kill your opponent in one explosive burst. Sometimes it is about the chip damage. A lot of times it's about one explosive burst. And in matchups like Murktide and Burn and Scam too, especially when they scam you. Okay, yeah, this is definitely key. We're gonna Harbinger for Fulminator Mage. Then we go turn 2 Awakener, then turn 3 Fulminator Mage, then turn 4 Kaheera Awakener, loop the land destruction. Now what was I saying? And so just like keeping your life total as high as possible is relevant in a lot of matchups. That being said, when I was playing the Scales in the Showcase Challenge, I did like lose a really important match because I had Grove. And so I've been thinking it over, and there's a good chance that I will no longer play Grove and Scales, but just like that was the thought process going up until this point, if that makes sense. How do you spike? Keep getting error messages 3,000 every try to watch your stream. Well, I don't know what that is. You could try Googling it. I used to work in IT, but now I'm a Twitch streamer. But about the Green Red Pathway? So, I think the Green Red Pathway is really bad compared to just the dual lands, where like you need all of these to be green early and then red like mid to late. You know what I mean? Which is that's a dual land, not a pathway. You need it to tap for green on turn 1 or turn 2 for the Ozolith, Ancient Stirrings, Scales, and then on turn 3, turn 4, if you've drawn Inkmoths and Sagas, you need to tap for red for Zabaz. This is like the important thing. Why no Copperline Gorge? It's just because a lot of times you go Ballista 2, Hanger back on 2, and Copperline Gorge is rough. But maybe Gorge is better. It's just, I don't know. We have talked about it a lot, and yeah. So we're gonna go Fulminator Mage then. The next turn Kaheera in hand, buff the Awakener, Fulminator Mage every turn. Very similar hand. Definitely going to keep, but on the draw potentially too slow. But it did Mulligan to 6, so maybe they'll miss Tron turn 3. Although we can beat Tron turn 3 if they don't have Karn the Great Creator potentially. Also good to see you in chat, Todd. Man, I missed the stream, y'all. I definitely missed the stream. Can you Harbinger upkeep to have the same line last game? We can. Why don't we just grab a Blast Zone? The thing though is if I Harbinger it up, so like the thing about last game was I really wanted to tutor 2 specific cards. Do I just want to tutor? I may just want to tutor 2 Fulminators, because I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't think I'm going to be able to set up the Harbinger in time on the draw. Do you think Ammo Titan is still competitive? This game is brutal. Competitive for sure. Competitive, I would say for sure. Is it a deck that I would recommend as the best choice for a tournament? Probably not, but it's also like I think if you are expert level Amulet Titan, you will like always be fine choosing it for a tournament, or almost always. Okay, does it matter which we target here? I guess we want to target the non-tower. Well, it doesn't really matter. They just tap whichever we target to crack the map. But they're still restricted to 7 mana, so no O-Stone plus Crack and no Ugin. Its turn scales the #1 modern deck that's underplayed because of complexity. I mean, it's that. It's also like, to some extent, players really just don't like to. They tutored a tower, but then they decided not to play it this turn, which is weird. It's also a deck that players, I feel like, don't want to buy the cards because they're so unique. That being said, I recently, from Cool Stuff Inc., with code Spike for 5% off, I got a stack of Hardened Scales cards on my desk right now that I'm excited to one day play with in paper. Yeah, the Discord users too, for sure. How much is the deck? I didn't buy the whole deck. I didn't buy Inkmoth Nexuses or Groves. And I might actually be like not playing the Groves anymore, which is funny. Okay, so I think we just go Kaheera, Vial, and Kaheera. The next turn we can start looping Fulminator Mage, which is hopefully not too slow. See if they have a sweeper. Or yeah, or I guess they also have to have another Tron piece, which they don't. They're just gonna blast on me, which is likely not enough. Yeah, I think I already own 2 ballistas. I actually need to check. I couldn't remember if I owned 1 or 2, but I just bought 2. Yeah, I know Inkmoth Nexuses are really necessary. They're also like so expensive. So we beat Tron, which is good. You know, 1-1 against your bad matchup is always a pretty reasonable place to be in these leagues. It's a weird hand. We have all 4 colors of mana with Sacred Foundry, Breeding Pool. We have Solitude, Ephemerate, so I think we're gonna keep. But if Solitude Ephemerate is bad in this matchup, then we're gonna lose probably. Magnet, 29 months, thank you. 29 months, still chasing the high of gas, super qualifier, blue-white, control versus Tron last match. Oh, that was crazy. Oh, me too. Reginald, 12 months, thank you. And main power with the 5, thank y'all. The Caverns are 50 each. Yeah, I owned Caverns already, thankfully. So we're up against Murktide. I think I'm gonna save the Solitude Ephemerate for now. Hope they play another creature. Love that draw, especially with 2 recommissions in my hand. I forget about it. I actually opened the Gemstone Caverns in a Time Spiral pack. Yeah, we lost to Tron round 1, and then we beat it round 3. Somehow. Gonna rethink the number of Fulminators. Cavern of Souls, off the top. Let's go. So I think we're gonna go for a Solitude end of turn. Maybe not. Yeah, I'll just pass. I can Fury if I don't draw a land. Did draw a land. This is a weird play. My opponent has a counter spell here. They just do. And so it's like, I'm really happy if they counter Fury instead of Solitude, or instead of Reef, but also like if they're holding up the counter spell for the Reef. Oh, what the heck, huh? I don't even know if this is right. I just get to have a Fury now. I guess I have a Bolt, probably. But I can Ephemerate? Yeah, these main deck dress downs in Murktide lately have definitely been throwing me off. And no second Bolt. And no counterspell, kind of looks like. What did I play in place of the Groves? I don't know yet. I mean, the amount of questions about Groves has kind of been like ridiculous too. It's like, I don't know. It's some combination of like Fetchlands, Copperline Gorges, Fetchlands, Copperline Gorges, Stomping Grounds. I might also still play Groves, or like play like 2 Groves. I don't know. I'm also like not super likely to stream the deck with the only update being a couple of changes to the lands. So we'll see. but I would like to stream the deck again at some point. Have I tried the green white scales list? Smith has felt pretty good. I've played with Smith and scales before. I typically think that, so like the mana with green white or Naya really, because you need a lot of red for Zabaz. The mana is not great, and you lose a lot of consistency. And I also like I've been loving, so Stirrings is like the card you usually cut for like Sentinel, and I think cutting Stirrings for Sentinel is fine. That being said, I have been really liking Ancient Stirrings to be able to dig for Ravager. I'm actually pretty high on Stirrings. And it's also like if you cut Stirrings, you have to go up a land, at least one land. And so it's just like, how are we including Ingenious Smith too? Instant tracks anytime? Maybe. I think it was you that was suggesting playing. I want to pitch the Ephemerate. It's kind of weird. Just like the Recommission to get back the Reefs are just so important here. Wow, counterspell this. Okay, let's do this so that they're definitely tapped out and they can't like bolt the Reef post combat, and then I get to just like recommission a second Reef and win the game. Murktide could get kind of dicey. We're just gonna have so many. Yeah, looks at another one. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like the idea of just playing a 3-3 split or 3 entrance, 3 Atraxa. So I think that was you, Mean. Yeah, let's not put that in our hand here, so we can play it as a land, and then yes, put this one in, and then you just Brushfire. Did I enjoy Min? I did enjoy Min. Thank you for asking. Opponent will die next turn without killing my Reefs, I would think. Now you can hit Gozlith. You don't need red that often. Okay, so I've heard this point for scales. You don't need red all that often. I disagree so much that you don't need red all that often. For me, with Zabaz, I think like red for Zabaz is so important to so many of my game-winning lines. Like Zabaz is like your second Arcbound Ravager. You know, it is. In my experience, I couldn't disagree more that you don't need red all that often. Is there a reason not to have one more? I just forgot that this didn't have Summoning Sickness. Wow. What land do you play over Grove? I currently am still playing Groves, but you must have just come in at the tail end of the conversation, because I've said like 3 or 4 times today. I don't know yet, and I don't even know that I'm cutting the Groves. But it's also like, you know, you could figure it out, because there's a lot of options. So I think I want to be able to play a fetch land for turn for the Brushfires. I already have another Brushfire in hand. I mean, it does not really matter what we get, huh? Play Solitude. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I just, you know, it is okay to come in at the tail end of the combo. Q. Yeah, so I do think the Brushfire Elementals are not at their best here. This is definitely a matchup where you're really controlling, so you want to cut them for the endurances usually. Flicker Wisp is okay. I like the ability to be able to Flicker Wisp a Murktide, but you mostly want Solitude for the job, and I think we'll just play a Wispmare for Blood Moon instead. Erotic Burrito, think that's 6 months? Yeah, I gotta keep the wonky decks honest, huh? Yeah, I think it's better to play Wispmare for Blood Moon. Yeah, definitely say hi next time, Eternal. Please look at Coppercoat Vanguard for Aftermath. Yeah, I've seen Coppercoat Vanguard for Aftermath. So I know people are really hyped for Coppercoat Vanguard, and I may be misevaluating it, but in my mind, Unsettled Mariner is way better than Coppercoat Vanguard. So the difference is, of course, is that Coppercoat Vanguard is half Lord +1/+0, which is very good in a tribal deck. But the fact that it doesn't give ward to itself, or is really, really rough. Mariner also gives yourself ward. Sorry. I think I misspoke. Coppercoat Vanguard does not give itself ward. Mariner gives itself ward, and it also gives you ward, which is less relevant, but is an upside. But like your ward protector, not itself having that protection, is such a huge loss compared to a card you already have an option for in Unsettled Mariner, which is like even in mono white would be easy enough to splash for. Another thing too, and this is kind of something that I think has been, like, to me a little funny lately, is I see a lot of rhetoric about how Coppercoat Vanguard might be like the answer for humans that you can have against Fury, which is, again, very funny to me because, one, it's worse than Mariner against Fury, and two, the mono white humans deck is currently very resilient to Fury if you play Shining Shoal and Forged Tinder. It's like the Fury decks are like, and also like the new Convoke, the Knight Errant is a good way to like refuel against the interactive decks. And I just like, for me, as far as I'm thinking about humans, I'm just like, I have not been less worried about Fury in a long time. Yeah, it seems like a good Pioneer card for sure. I agree with that. I want to draw a land, so I don't want Harbinger here. Could maybe cast a Thunderkin Awakener. I'm a little worried about Blood Moon. To be able to go like Island Forest is kind of nice, but if they don't Blood Moon this turn, then I'll get 2 shock lands that tap for all my colors. The big thing is cutting Mutavault for Mariner too. Yeah. I think like that's reasonable. But like at least in like my latest version of humans, like you would be cutting like Knight Errant of Eos for it. I've been liking Knight Errant a lot. We've been doing like, I think we've only played the deck twice, but I think we have 4-1 twice, and I think that's likely still would be the version I'd be on. Deck text open. They should be. Maybe Mod can check if they're turned on at the moment. I know that's kind of been... Oh, what a top deck. I know it's kind of been a little all over the place lately. Thoughts on Tangle Florhedron for Fetch Buff Harbinger? I think it's not worth it. But if you disagree, you could cut the Flicker Wisp for it, if you think it's worth it. American streamers and scales experts. Well, me, of course, but also Mr. Sari, MTG. Shout out Mr. Sari. When I was like writing a article for Scales last year, I was consuming a lot of Mr. Sari content to learn the deck, and that was like around when Kamigawa came out. Thank you, 4 dogs. Oh, speaking of mods, I guess I met Simon DS. Wait, I always thought Simon was European. Maybe not. But I met Simon in person for the first time. I'm slowly like collecting all of my mods, like Infinity Stones. I met 4 dogs, and I met Panda, and I met Simon, all like the OG mods. And then one day I'll meet, everybody. Yeah, I was like, wow. He's like, Simon's like, it's like us meeting a celebrity. Yeah, I mean Frieza. It would be very cool. Yeah, I've met you, Nick. Okay. Kind of like the idea of grabbing a Fury, although Second Reef would also just be. Yeah, I'll just get Second Reef. Yeah, then I'll meet all the VP. We just meet everybody. We'll have dinner with each Spikeling. I'm paying. Oh. How many Risen Reefs is too many Risen Reefs, y'all? Yeah, I don't think there is a number of too many Risen Reefs. I don't think that is a number that exists. I lived in Sweden for grad school. Okay, yeah, I remember that you were in Sweden. Moved back to Minneapolis in 2021. Okay, right. I remember that you didn't move. I forgot that it was back here to the States. Okay, don't want to Solitude the Ragavan and then get got badly by a Murktide here. We could Endurance them. Eventually spray the value. Yeah, Murktide is a really good matchup for Elementals. I think I'll leave Temple Garden up for a top decked Ephemerate instead of top decked Harbinger. So they can't counter this. They could have another Dress Down, which would be okay. Calling all the shots today. So let's go ahead and Endurance here. And then I'm kind of going to find a land. I think if my opponent has a burn spell, they'll burn the Reef in response, and then I Ephemerate. Maybe they have a counter spell. And maybe they don't. But I'm going to discard anyway, so I think it makes sense to at least pitch the Reef. Well, I guess I could have gone to the instep, but then maybe they do nothing. Where was that a moment ago, opponent? How do you have Dress Down? Why are you just doubting now? I just get a 3/4 reach. What? What? Going to discarding the Awakener seemed reasonable. I feel like the Awakener's in hand are really good because they get back my Reefs. I don't know if I would discard one. I just Tear Flip? Man, unintentionally. I'll Ephemerate now, but only because it's really obvious I have Ephemerate because I waited so long. I keep doing that in Limited. I specifically... Okay, I was living in Limited Dreamland all week. Last week it was awesome. Just, oh boy, I'm going to open my packs and play whatever. I don't have a single thought in my little head. But the rebuttal, the 6-mana Convoke counterspell, draw 2, discard 1, I feel like I could never bluff it. I feel like it was just like, it always just felt so obvious it was in my hand every single time. I just could never, like, even pretend like it wasn't there. Got to meet Jim Davis for the first time? Yeah, Jim is fucking, like, so fucking good. He's been on such a tear lately. But yeah, I got to meet Jim in person too, which was really cool. Not super long, but Jim was really nice. And I was on Mog Monday one time, but I never talked to Jim in person before. Talked to Deceive in person very briefly, which is very cool. What was I gonna say about Jim? Jim's great. We love Jim. I feel like I had something. I don't know. I never met Jim in person before, but like at SCG Invitational years ago, one of my friends, bummer. One of my friends was up against Jim in the first round of top 8 of that Invitational the next day. My friend was playing Aetherworks Marvel, and Jim was playing like an Esper Vehicles deck, and so like we all night long were playtesting the matchup, trying to figure out how we could beat the Esper Vehicles deck in playtesting. And in playtesting, my friend's deck won 1 out of 6 matches, and we were like, we did develop a little like a plan, but we kind of went in knowing it was not gonna be enough, and it was not. Jim crushed my friend. But I just remember being up like all night, like trying to find a plan to beat Jim, but the matchup was just too bad, I think. Yeah, I know it's really sad he missed top 8, but still, like, it's just like Jim has just been so goated, been doing so well. That's an anticlimactic ending to story. I mean, I wish it was more climactic. I wish we had found like some sick tech, but like I think we found like the best sideboard plan. I think we found like the best plan A, but the matchup was just miserable. You know, it's like sometimes the matchup is just not there. Okay, so we definitely recommission Awakener so that we can Solitude the Murktide. And then let's just like draw our deck real quick. Oh no. Oh no. So like my goal here is to make sure my opponent never plays Murktide again, I guess. A noble goal. Oh baby. Yeah, no, the Murktide matchup's like if you're looking for a deck that just chews up and spits out Murktide. These like more, even the more low to the ground the elementals deck, the better. So my opponent may currently have a little bit of a will to live left. So let's just go ahead and extinguish that. The good news is I'm sacrificing 2 of my reefs here, so I'm not decking ourselves. Everyone has 1 card in their hand. I have 13. Discard Aether Vial, Aether Vial, Aether Vial. Harbinger, Harbinger, Aether Vial. Look at that hand. Pretty good. Finds a lightning bolt. We're still here. It's okay. Okay, as a sign of dominance, I'm going to now Solitude my own reef, so I can show my opponent that I will not be decking myself. All right, that was the game. That was the game-winning line. That was the game-winning line. Okay, let's get a 4-1 prediction going. Let's get a match. Normal stream till Wednesday, and then Thursday, me and Esther are gonna go try to get our passports, and we're driving like 2 or 3 hours because we're not like gonna. Oh, there was a deck tech. Sorry, I missed it. Patron save. Let's look at the chat. I can take a look. We live in like a broken society, so like there's like the website's like non-functional, and like there's no appointments for like a month to get your passport. So we're gonna be driving. And I may be live like later that afternoon, or maybe not. Just we'll see. And if I'm not, like, I'll definitely stream a Saturday tournament. How many people recognize me in Minneapolis? I think 3. Yeah, 3. Which is pretty good. Thank you, 4 dogs. Z&D Maverick. I know I'm not playing the Thunderkin Awakener this turn, but I do actually think that getting a Plains is just too important against turn 3 Blood Moon right now. Quarian Ranger, untap, Priest of the Forgotten Gods? What a deck, huh? What a deck. That is something. No, I was happy to talk to all the spikelings this weekend. There maybe was a couple more than 3. But I was always happy to talk to all the spikelings. Okay, let's actually play Vial plus Awakener this turn. I know it's kind of weird to play the Vial here, but it's like, we just don't need to be afraid of my Risen Reef getting Thought Seized. Because I have double Recommission and basic planes in hand. Yeah, I always love to talk to fans of the stream. It is just, you know, it is awesome. It is awesome. No, I do love you guys. And I'm, you know, definitely used to it. Happy to sign cards, happy to take pictures, happy to chat for a bit. Okay, so like one thing is, I know, so I'm just trying to soak this in a little bit. This deck looks awesome. This deck looks so sick. It also looks a little underpowered. Looks pretty underpowered. So like one thing is, I would really like to get Fiend Artisan in over Zimone and Ziana, and I'd really like to get this card out of the deck. Unfortunately, as cool as it is, I think it's a little underpowered. I'd like to be playing Stitcher Supplier over the Wayfinder, which works really well when you're sacrificing it, of course, and then also fills up the graveyard for Fiend Artisan. So, you know what? I actually built a deck that was like very similar to this, and I am very interested in the Quarian Ranger tech, so I'm going to go ahead and just like pull this up and then think about implementing the Ranger tech there, if that makes sense. But let me just go ahead and find that list. I think this is really bad into like removal spell plus Thoughtseize, and I definitely stacked these triggers. Oh no, I didn't. It's okay. Now we have 2 ways to get our Reef back. Hold on. So let me find this list. Okay. So we trophied with this deck. It's also a Tyvar green-black sacrifice deck with Priest of the Forgotten Gods. But I was also playing Fauna Shaman and the Asmo package, which is something I really do recommend. I've never seen this supplier art. But Shaman's really cool with the Asmo package. You can discard like Bloodghast for value, Oval Chase for value, and grab Asmo for 1 mana or one of your other cards. But what's also cool is that Quarian Ranger can also untap your Fauna Shaman. So like maybe you just play it as a 1 of 2 to target for Fauna Shaman in this kind of build. I can go to post a link in the chat. Maybe you end up playing Ignoble Hierarch over Aether Vial, so you can also untap Ignoble Hierarch. Okay, there's a deck list. But that's what I like about your list is specifically the Quarian Ranger tech. I don't think you're supposed to play 4, but I think that part is good and interesting, and I'd be excited to like go down that angle a bit more with time. Well, let's go ahead and cast this Fury. You need to fetch Shock. Sideboard looks really normal. Probably be interested in. I feel like I always like more Grist in the sideboard because they're good in the grindy matchups like Scam and Murktide, obviously, but they're also like really good against creativity randomly. Since like Vial Awakener. Since like just the Grist, like you have tokens to sacrifice to the Archon ETB, and then the next turn it kills the Archon. So if they're not hasting it with like Reunion or Fable, it's pretty good against an Archon. Malman, 12 months, worst player at 17. Thank y'all. Trying to find better placement for Vran and Blister Pond. Yeah, for there you're gonna want to play Supplier and then like either Fiend like Supplier, Fiend Artisan just for that, or more direction into the Asthma direction if you're interested there. But just if those are the swaps, Stitcher Supplier and Fiend Artisan. MTG Cube 2, 3 months. Thank you. Fiend Artisan also works really well with Quarian Ranger. That's something. So I'm gonna go. They might have to feel like they have to kill the Awakener. Too fancy to Fury Reef for 1 extra trigger? Yeah, because then the Reef is dead, you know what I mean? Like, it dies end of turn. Just keep that card in play, I think. What's Recommission for? Let me show you. Be happy to show you. So like one very like basically, I guess, Recommissions an index so you can just like feel very comfortable slamming your Risen Reef and then slamming your Risen Reef and just like recommissioning it back and just being very in on the Reef plan. That's always great. A little bit less basically, it lets you do this, where you get to put a +1 counter on your Thunderkin Harbinger, which lets you get back Solitude with your. I guess probably should just go back to the other Reef. But it lets you get back Solitude with your Thunderkin Awakener, which is crazy. Cool. I think again, like the Murktide matchup, we just don't need the aggression from the elementals, and so a lot of times you're just going to be doing, I think, like exactly the same cyberplane actually. Thanks to the worst player, MTG Cube Tube. I'm gonna get a drink of water when my opponent finishes sideboarding.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. 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 What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Right. This joke.
What?
Right. It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike. Back from a long weekend. Well, I don't have a white card for Ephemerate. What I do have is the weird ability to have all of my I guess I don't have a mountain. All of my basics against a possible turn 2 Blood Moon. Also, now if I'm evoking Solitude on Ragavan, that Voidwalker can cast Solitude. See what we draw. Alright, let's go and grab a Sacred Foundry, I believe. Yeah, Sacred Foundry. And the defensive Thunderkin Awakener tapped in defensive position. Starting away 30 months, big 30, enjoy the PT. So yeah, I was playing the PTQs, and I was also, there next to the PT for the weekend. I wish I could have seen more. Like, I had a friend playing in it, Josh Willis, our regional champion. Obviously, I have some friends playing in it too, and I just wish I could have been more in tune with it. But like the sealed PTQ was both of them were so long and so demanding. But I did have a good weekend. It was great to see everybody. It was just Magic tournaments are just awesome. It's just you just get to hang out, and I don't know. It's just y'all have probably been. It's just the best shit ever. So I had a good weekend doing my favorite thing to do, be at a Magic tournament. Should have fetched Stomping Ground to cast Endurance. I was thinking I was just going to Vial in the Endurance, and I always kind of want to have double white for like Recommission plus Ephemerate turns. But maybe Stomping Ground was better for that reason. So when I have dinner with people like Mingu, do I make it talk Magic or anything about Magic? So what's funny about that question is, so red card would be awesome here, no red card. Yeah, but what's funny about that question is there is no one like Mingu. Like there's no one like Mingu that just like lives and breathes Magic like everybody else, like anybody else. Like Mingu just loves Magic. Mingu just loves Magic and is just so happy to talk Magic nonstop, and that's all he wants to talk about always. But I always try to talk about life and stuff. But Mingu, he just wakes up and he's just so happy to play Magic, Maybe we should be main phasing Solitude here. we chat a little bit. He's like, how are the dogs? How's Esther? And Mingu's like, Mingu tells you all the Magic he's playing. But yeah, so Mingu's just the sweetest ever, so I love him so much. So I have a Fury. I kind of am suspecting an Undying spell. I was hoping that, the turn I Violent Endurance, I was hoping I would draw a red card and I could go, like, Evoke Fury. Or as a Violent Fury in response to Undying card. Maybe they just won't have it. They do have it, and we have Game 3. Do I find competitive paper Magic harder after spending so much time streaming and vocalizing your plays to yourself, being able to do some paper? Okay, so that aspect, not being able to vocalize my plays, that doesn't. I can talk in my mind. So in fact, it's easier to play in paper for me because I don't have a chat to entertain. That being said, I think that before I was streaming, I was always very focused on finding a list that I was doing well with and tuning it and just playing it nonstop and really doing a lot of tournament prep. And the way I engage with Magic now is a lot more about innovating and like finding ideas and like iterating on those ideas and trying to brew and trying to, you know, share these ideas with people, which is something that I personally have found to be so rewarding, and I love it so much, and it's my favorite thing. But it also is not, you know, as good as as prepping for tournaments. And additionally, I feel that my like tournament endurance and tournament focus it has been a lot lower since starting to stream. So, you know, these are the trade-offs. I'm definitely like a lot happier now, and you know everything is good. But I do have this like kind of conscious awareness that I'm not as good at tournaments, I feel, as I used to be. I do, Kurt Bros. I find it hard to vocalize how much I love my mods. Although I'm always so happy to beat the mods in person. It's so cool. It's the content you gotta do. I always feel like you jump decks too quickly. Yeah, I mean, so like me jumping decks too quickly, it's like I'm doing it for the stream, for the content, right? And it's like these decks aren't for me; they're for you. You know, if there's a deck that I'm working on that you like, I move so quickly so you can pick it up and you can work on it and you can love it too. You know, that's always the hope, the dream. I grabbed Ephemerate, which is surprising. I thought they would just grab Fury the Reef. I think tournaments have gotten harder where people have the resources. Maybe, cool kid. I think so. I think that like there's a really big difference between pre-tournament, pre-COVID Magic and post-COVID Magic, or like, you know, COVID stopped there, blah blah. You know what I mean? Illusions, 25 months. Thank you. So it's like, I agree. I think like what's crazy is like at these tournaments. Okay, so they're gonna ephemerate their own Fury. So at these tournaments, like, everyone is just a crusher. Everyone's been, like, the density of people who've been playing for, like, 10, 15 years really competitively is... That number is very high. That number of people is very high, and, like, the quality is really good. But also, like, tournaments are more relaxed. People are just friendly. They're happy to be there. There's a lot less, like, you know, sharky behavior. It's different, you know. Illusions, a good 25 months. Thank you. Oh, Lucy. Athena just... Oh, Athena is... She has husky brain, because you can see it in her eyes. She's... Zuna. Oh, baby. Okay. Athena was so happy to see me. Lucy was too, but... Athena was going crazy. Waffle, 6 months. Thank you. What do you think of the Ring Timsu? I'm not... so, like, I like the Lord of the Rings set overall a lot. The Ring Timsu, this was a mechanic I didn't like that much. But it's also, like... When I say I don't like it, it is really just comes from a place of me, I think, having a different design philosophy than one that goes behind the Ring Timsu, if that makes sense. I just think that mechanics like Into the Dungeon, Ring Timsu, these are just... These are mistakes. Mistake is a strong word, but I think that for the most part, I think that I just have the philosophy that you should be able to pick up a card, read a card, pick up a card, read a card, and like know what it does. But there's just too much like hidden, invisible text on effects like this, and I think the game is like a little worse for it. But this is just a design philosophy of mine. This is not like a huge condemnation of the mechanic or anything so dramatic as that. I kind of just want to... Let's just draw two. I probably should have put this in my hand. That's not even true with keywords. Yeah, sure. But yeah, exactly. So like, it's fine. It's fine. It's just for me. If I was a game designer, it's not a mechanic that I would have supported. Okay, I guess we're... Oh, can I? I gotta have Sacred Foundry. But it's, you know, it's also like... So, like, you know, Wizards keeps printing these too. Wizards keeps printing these kind of mechanics. So I think to some extent they maybe have some data that shows that, like, more casual fans, or there's a big group of people who do like these mechanics, maybe. It's also, like, as far as I can tell or say, I don't believe that the mechanic is going to have huge modern implications. So this is mostly just, like... not a big deal no matter what. And overall, I'm like very positive about the Lord of the Rings set. I think it's gonna be really good for Magic. But I will also say that kind of tying into like Wizards, I think, has more data about players than I do for sure. Because this may sound like I'm gonna sound like very, I don't know, spiky, nerdy. I don't know what to say. Okay, but in Minneapolis, they were playing a live game of Commander on the stage. I think it was game nights. They were playing this live game of Commander on the stage, and the seating to watch this game was full, and there was maybe like 100 people standing behind the seating. They were so excited to watch like this live game of EDH, and every single time a player on the stage played a card, just like any card, the crowd went nuts. Was just going crazy for every single card being played. And I'm not like, this is not a criticism. I'm not trying to be negative about this in any way, but for me, watching this, it was just, I think it showed me like how disconnected I am from like that side of the Magic community. You know what I mean? Like, and like there are way more of them than like I think the Spikes. It's just like the Spikes and the Timmies, I guess. There are way more of them than there are of us, but it's, but this is also like, they're here too. They deserve to be here, and it's I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to me. Like, just like who are these people? Who are they? What are they like? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? They want to hang out. actually, I know some command. I'm friends with the Nitpicking Nerds. They, I was on their YouTube channel a little while ago, and they're happy to play Commander with me. I played Commander with them actually over the weekend. It's just cool to see how like differently they engage with the game. It's just Magic is just such a special game where you really just do have something for everybody. But it can be, it can just always be so easy to like only think of like your own interest in the game and your own like desires for what Magic should be. But there's Wizards has a lot of like different groups they need to like think about. Yeah, they're just having fun. They're having a great time. I'm like I just like I wish that was me instead of being like neurotic and obsessed with deck building and like just like the only thing the only time I feel anything is brewing. It's just different, And I was just so funny to visualize. Yeah, turn one Ragavan. Evoke Fury, Scan Fury.